So I figured I had to jump on the bandwagon too. Tracee Ellis, Bug Eyes, ultimately says she prefers dating younger men because older men, or I guess men her age, are toxically masculine, or they display traits of toxic masculinity. So I had to look that trait up since it's such a buzzword. Girls just throw that shit out all the time. So let's see what toxic masculinity truly means. Let's zoom in so we can roll this beautiful beam footage. Let's see. Refers to a cultural concept of manhood that promotes harmful behaviors and attitudes traditionally associated with masculinity. So just overall just being masculine, I guess. Suppressing emotions, so not being a bitch. Oh, that's toxic masculinity, okay. Dominance and aggression over empathy and cooperation. Okay, I think you need a mix of both. There's times where you need to be dominant and aggressive, and there's times where you need to have empathy and cooperation. Hyper-competitiveness. Don't see nothing wrong with that. At the end of the day, everything's a competition. Really, all when it boils down to it, we're all in competition in some sort of way or fashion. And if you don't believe that, you're just living in a delusional world. Devaluing traits perceived as feminine. Well, I mean, let's be real. Most feminine traits don't really mix well. If you want to go far as a man, like having feminine traits as a man probably wouldn't help you too much. Objectifying women or seeing relationships as conquest. Now that I can agree with. I don't think you should objectify women. But the thing is, a lot of these modern women are out here objectifying themselves. And then they have that double standard of objectifying themselves. But wait, you can't objectify me. And then homophobia or discouraging emotional intimacy with other men. Yeah, I mean, I'm just not gay, so I can't really rock with that. And I am homophobic. Damn it, I'm probably going to get canceled. But I'm just going to be real. Like, I mean, I have no problem with gay people, but like if a gay person try to make a move, then he's getting slumped. All right. So the term doesn't mean masculinity in itself is bad. It's about specific cultural norms that pressure men to act in rigid, unhealthy ways. So in other words, being a man is unhealthy. So you know what? Society's just trying to beta-tize men. If that's even a fucking word. And it's not. I made it up. Okay, we're going to make that up today. Society's just trying to beta-tize men. End of the day, it's a control mechanism. If all men are strong, masculine, free thinkers that think for themselves, they can revolt against the powers they're in. So that's why the food we're eating, testosterone levels dropping, all that stuff, it is all by design. At the end of the day, they want betas walking around here. They want cucks walking out around here. So beta cucks are easy to control. So they're going to throw this buzzword. And guess what? All women really want at the end of the day is what? Control. So, of course, most guys that are married or in relationships, they're beta males, guys. No, like women, they really actually really like alpha males, whatever you call it. But at the end of the day, they know they can't control those guys and they can't get everything they want out of those guys. So those guys are rendered useless to them. So let's just see the bullshit Tracee Ellis has to fucking say, because I know it's some bullshit. So Bug Eyes, bring it on.
To my channel, mother suckers. Hey, I am Eloho, back with another video. Tracee Ellis Ross has been all up and down my timeline. I know y'all seen it. I know y'all seen the think pieces, the gender wars, but I want to bring a different perspective to this topic. Have y'all seen the podcast? I know most people have only seen the clips. I took the time out to watch the entire 55-minute episode, and honestly, it was a really great episode. I feel like I was watching my aunties and uncle talk about relationship and marriage and navigating these things, and so it was actually a really good watch. If you're interested, I definitely recommend going to watch it. Love Michelle Obama, love Tracee, and then having her older brother there for an older male perspective was great as well. So let's go ahead and check out what Tracee Ellis Ross said.
It's not just that I'm older, I'm also very embodied. Mm-hmm. I am a full, very whole person who knows myself, who is in charge of my life, and who lives a very full, just robust life. So it's not just age, it's like life experience and sort of a difference. But I had to ask myself the question, why? Why does this keep sort of coming up other than they're hot and gorgeous? There's that. But a lot of men my age are steeped in a toxic masculinity and have been raised in a culture where there is a particular way that a relationship looks. I did enough of it where I was pretty
much traditional gender roles. She's claimed she was controlled, but at the end of the day, more realistically, she probably just had a lack of control because she was actually dealing with the masculine man. Hence what I was saying in the beginning. These chicks want betas, guys. Which is most of you guys anyway. So, I mean, happy days for you guys, right? But that's what these chicks want. They want guys that they can control, okay? And she just felt like she didn't have control of the situation. So she's going to pretend and she's going to say and flip it like she was controlled. I just don't believe anything these chicks say, man. They always try to flip the script and make it seem like they're the victims when most of the time they're really the ones that are the abusers. In most cases, I'm not saying that men are the abusers. Men can definitely be the abusers in relationships. Most of the time, it's really the females because just the way men operate and stuff like that, they want the peace. These chicks want to disrupt the shit. So let's continue watching.
Felt like I was a possession or whatever those things were, or prize, and I have no interest in it, and I will not do it again.
It's a generational thing, so it didn't matter how you met them, or is it just kind of the guys you're meeting?
That's obviously
too big of a generalization.
It's a generalization,
yeah.
But because I have dated men my age, there is a difference. There is an openness that occurs with a younger man around whether it's gender fluidity or not even having an issue with homosexuality. I mean, something as big.
You hear this shit? She just wants a beta. I'm telling you guys what she's saying.
Basic as that. There's so many different philosophies on dating, and I have come up with mine. I have come up with what works for me and what makes sense for me.
So what works for me and what makes sense for me is to find a young, impressionable, maybe not young. She's probably dating a guy like 10 years younger. I don't think she's dating anyone really younger than 10 years younger than her because she probably couldn't. She's an. I mean, I don't know how old she is. She honestly looks good for her age. She's probably up there. She's probably like 50 or something. But she definitely looks good for her age. I will not cap there. But ultimately, she just wants control. Just like most of these chicks, especially the older they get. I feel like they want control more and more. But actually, even younger chicks want it. You know what I'm saying? But they've already kind of rolled the alpha carousel and stuff, and they realize that they just can't really get exactly what they want in those situations. So that's why she wants to date a younger beta male. Translation.
And what feels safe for me.
Now, Tracee is getting a lot of hate. You know, some men feel attacked. Some women are saying, oh, this is predatory, right? But she's not saying anything different than a lot of women over 40 has said about men in their 40s and 50s. That they are stuck in a time where women really didn't have much rights. And so a woman who is looking for a man who is fluid as...
So... you telling me people who are 40 or 50 years old, they came up in the 90s and like early 2000s. So you're telling me in the 90s, maybe late 80s, 90s, 2000s that, you know, guys back or, you know, girls or women back then didn't have any rights? Man, hold up, man. When did women start having full rights? Nigga, they've been having full rights since the 60s. Roe versus Wade, 1973. She's not even old enough to talk about guys growing up in a time where women had no rights. See, just capaholics. World premiere. Let's continue.
He said here, like, she's looking for fluidity. She's a fluid person. And not only in the sense of like sexuality, but just in essence. Like, she's fluid and she's always been that way. She's talking about the men who were raised in a time where emotional suppression was normal, where boys couldn't cry, where crying was a girl thing to do, where cooking was a woman's job, right? Those are the men that she's talking about.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say it's like their job, but it's just normal gender roles. And that's the reason why our society shit, and our society was actually much better back in those days where they had no rights. We had strong families. Society was actually doing an upward projection instead of a downward projection as it is now. So, I mean, but guys, make it make sense.
A lot of these men don't believe in therapy, right? A lot of these men have not done the emotional work. And so there's no healing, there's no growth. Like we always say, a lot of older people are what? Stuck in their ways. That's men and women. A lot of older people are stuck in their ways. They're not willing to change. And so I don't think it's predatory to say, hey, okay, men in their 50s are not willing to change, but men in their 40s are. Now, where I somewhat disagree,
it's 10 years, bro. I feel like you already who you are by like shit like my age, bro. I'm almost 28. I'm about to be stuck in my ways. Like at the end of the day, like I don't see myself changing too much from this point. So Capaholics world premiere.
That young men can be toxic too. Right? Honestly, I think any age, any gender, any fluidity.
I'm glad you acknowledge that.
I just think it's the mindset of a person, because you have a lot of young men who have that old, women don't need rights mentality, because
not that. If you're a guy that thinks that, that's retarded, because I do believe women should have all rights, just as many rights as a man. It's just the thing is there's gender norms, man. There's things that women are better at than men, like, making sure the house is orderly, taking care of kids, cooking, cleaning, all that good stuff. They can get their own money too. But, there's just a role where guys feel like they're in their purpose and in their masculine, as these bitches love to say, fucking going out there and getting the paper and bringing home the bacon for a family. That's like a man's purpose. And then, so like I just don't understand why those compliments are such a bad thing. It's worked for fucking thousands of years. Now we're trying to reinvent the wheel. Get the fuck out of here, man.
They're learning from the older generations, and they're like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna adopt that mentality. And in those cases, she can meet a younger man who is toxic. Now, another angle that a lot of people are not discussing is that this woman is of an upper echelon elite group of individuals, right? And she is dating people who are of her equivalent or somewhat close tax bracket, right? So she's not dating the
well, based off of hypergamy, there's a possibility she could be dating lower, because I don't see her finding a guy that isn't toxically masculine if she dated someone who's more successful and richer than her. I don't see. A lot of these girls, they want this fucking alpha fucking simp, pretty much. This alpha, like, beta simp. This alpha male that's an alpha to everyone else, everyone else around, alpha in the world. But when it comes to her, he's just a beta simp cuck that rolls the carpet out for her and just does everything she wants. That's what they want. The thing is, the type of guys that girls say that they really want, they don't really want. In reality, they really won't want them. Because those type of guys will actually have standards. They'll actually hold them accountable to a standard. And they actually would have to step up to the plate instead of just do their bullshit. And they can't just get away with their bullshit. And most women, you know how they say women's accountability and women really don't mix, like water and oil? Yeah, so you think a guy who's rich, successful, and doing better than you, since women like to date up, so most of the guys women are even dating, at least in their eyes, they see them as greater than them. You think that someone would just concede to you in that situation? So like, logic is just, unfortunately, just something that a lot of women really lack, if we're gonna be frank. But let's continue to roll this stupid ass beautiful bean footage.
Average 50 or 40-year-old, she's dating in a very specific niche pool of men. In that niche pool, a lot of women don't have access to. A lot of men don't have access to her. She is a unicorn, and I think it's fair for people to
That's fair to say
about their experience.
That is fair to say. She is a unicorn based off her status, her success and stuff. If she didn't sell her soul to the devil. You know what? I really don't even know what she's famous for. Let me look. What the fuck is Tracee Ellis famous for, man? Man, what the fuck is she famous for? I'm only covering this shit because it was all on my feed, and it'll probably get some views. So I'm just keeping it a buck. Actor, she was on a hit TV series called Girlfriends. I guess she's just a TV star. It's one of the top 100 most influential people in the world. I don't see fucking how. Well, I don't really know. I can't really talk that much shit. I really don't. I gotta do some more research on that. Oh shit. So I gotta do some more research on that because I really don't know. But
very specific niche pool of men. And that niche pool, a lot of women don't have access to. A lot of men don't have access to her. They also acknowledge that was a really big generalization that she made. And she's like, yeah, it is a really big generalization. Not talking about all 50-year-olds, just the ones in that small niche elite group. In which
it makes sense. I mean, yeah, you're fucking dealing with, it's pretty fair to say that probably have alpha traits. That's why they got to that's probably why they got to the place that they got. And you don't want to really date below. So what is you complaining about, bro? You're complaining about actually having to be held accountable. You're complaining about not having full control of the situation. You're complaining about not being put on a pedestal. That's really what she's complaining about with the toxic masculine guys. Like, man, you gotta learn how to decode womanese, bro. It's really just shaming tactics, and really primarily just shaming tactics in trying to flip the script as if they're the victim.
Choosing from. I think a lot of people are uncomfortable because she is older, she is successful, she is confident, she is beautiful, right? She's all the things.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, for her age, bro, she definitely is fire, bro. Just besides the bug eyes.
And she's still single and childless, and they find those things to be
see, and that's the kicker right there. You're that successful, you got all these damn options, a lot of guys will mess with you, but why are you single and childless, man? That's a red flag as a woman. It really is. That's a red flag. Can someone answer that? Why the hell, after she could literally probably get most fucking guys, why is she single and childless? That is a question. And she seems like she's been famous for a long time. Why has it never got to that point where she's had a kid? Maybe she may not want kids, but I mean, just thinking, ask yourself, why the hell has she not had a kid yet? Or ever even, and she's single. I don't know if she's ever been married or whatnot. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure about her history or really care to know about her history. I honestly just truly think, just off of, just gut feeling, that she's one of these people who probably sold her soul just to be famous.
Her downfall or a loss, but in this case she's like, listen, I don't have those things, and while I may sometimes love to have those things, I'm not going to settle.
I would love a relationship that makes my life better than it is. I have no interest in being in a relationship to be in a relationship. Mm-hmm. The truth is that,
and that's a good take. That's a good take. I can't get mad at that. 100%. That is dumb. That's a dumb reason just to get in a relationship, just to be in a relationship. I agree with that. So we're partial over here. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue to roll this and see if she makes me have to get back on her fucking head.
I'm a rare breed, so there might not be a match that's a rare breed for a while.
Fair enough. She's low-key way too successful, and she's kind of just pricing herself out. But there's other guys on her level that are interested. It's just she's going to have to follow their lead, and she doesn't want to do that. That's really all it is.
It's a whole nother ball game when you don't need a man, right? But you want a partner. I think it's a whole different level of freedom when you don't need him for anything. Like, I don't need you to pay my bills.
Well, yeah, most women nowadays don't need men. They don't need like a singular man. Yes, they need it, but I need other men. I need other men to keep the infrastructure alive. We all need other men, since most of the time, the infrastructure and really day-to-day shit that we just kind of overlook and take for granted is ran and maintained by men. So I need other men, and so do women. But women technically don't need singly another man. They can get their own money. They can, in this modern world, they don't need men. So that is true.
I don't need you to buy me anything. I don't need you to show me the world. I just want you to grow with me. I think that's a completely different level of freedom that most people don't understand. But y'all let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Listen, I'm not here to tell anybody who to date, right? But I do think that we should listen to women who speak from lived experiences. Tracee Ross, I don't think she was throwing shade. I think she was just telling her truth. And for some people, it may be an uncomfortable truth. Do you agree with Tracee? You know, how?
I mean, it was her truth. There's nothing uncomfortable about, because we can't call it an objective truth. So, come on, lady.
Do you feel about dating younger or older? What are your thoughts on people calling her a predator? Child, the people are just using words these days. A predator is...
I mean, I wouldn't say a predator. She's probably not dating anyone, like I said, over 10 years under her age, you know.
Crazy. A predator? It's crazy. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all at the next one. Later.
If you don't advocate for yourself and your own self-care, no one else is going to do it. So no is a complete sentence. Figuring out how to do that is really important, but I have a major toolbox of self-care. Everything from taking baths to eating soup instead of food to slow me down.
I mean, she can talk that shit when it comes to that, because she, like I said, she does look amazing for her age, bro. Like, real rap.
To saying no, to knowing my limits. Like, I'm one of those people who take things in so deeply, and I am such an exuberant, kind of energetic person that I'm not somebody who can like stay till the end of a party. I'm not somebody who can like go to the after party. Like, the dinner is usually enough for me. And as much as I want to, I have learned from experience for myself that I have to say no when I'm at enough, not when I'm depleted. I give big, so I have to restore big.
Fair enough, I guess. Alright. Yeah, I agree. 51 and 41 is not the same as 28 and 18. 18 and 28 is just an astronomical difference in, like, really your mentality. Well, I mean, your mind, and it's just your life, your mind definitely changes a lot from 18 to 28. But, I mean, the person you were at 18 I'm still the same person that I was back then. You know, just more experience under my belt, but it's definitely still a big difference. Yeah, so Shannon Sharp can date teenagers, but can't date a man in his 30s. But she can't date a man in... Yeah, no, I don't think that's predatory. I don't know why. Yeah, she can date whoever she wants. Men really hate older women dating younger men because they say we all hit a wall at 30. Well, because most of y'all actually fucking do. She's actually different. She's a unicorn. And she's successful. Most of y'all aren't. And most of y'all are not going to age nearly as well as her. Alright, it's just a bunch of women in the comments defending her, like they're just fangirls or whatnot. There's no problem with that, but I thought my take was pretty accurate. Obviously, other women aren't gonna like it because, you know, it's just it's actually real and it's some truth. You know, they don't fucking like that shit. They'd rather be lied to all fucking their entire life than ever hear any truth. So, but I am signing off this mother trucker. If women stumble upon this video, they're probably gonna fucking tear me up. But fuck it, I'm out here. So I'll catch you guys on the next one.